Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast. I'm Tay, and this is Ren. This is the first takeaway. We just watched the Packers pick in round one of the 2024 draft in Detroit. Ren, I will play the Packers' first pick. And then we'll comment.
With the 25th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers and hosts for the 2025 NFL Draft select Jordan Morgan, tackle, Arizona.
There it is, Jordan Morgan, offensive line. You can tell me a little more about where you think he might go, but what was your first takeaway?
It was one of those, not coal under the tree, Tay, but just kind of like a little bit, air out of the balloon kind of thing. The board was falling so perfectly, and Terrion Arnold's there, Tay, and I gotta say, honestly, the Lions trading up right in front of Green Bay. Terrion Arnold was going to be the pick. I mean, he was a guy I talked about yesterday with you. If there's one guy they could potentially trade up for, would be Terrion Arnold. And Detroit, I think, pretty much knew, Green Bay's taking him. If we don't come up and get him, we want him. So I think they stole the Packers' 25th pick there in Terrion Arnold. I mean, I think.
Sorry about that.
I think that Terrion. I mean, you can Quinion Mitchell is a great player too, hardworking kid, but I think Terrion was the best cornerback in the draft, and they missed one there. But hey, I mean, Jordan to protect Jordan, one of those guys that does, present to be in a lot of respects potentially a true tackle in the NFL. And I tweeted it right before I was getting there. We're gonna find out if they like DBs more, or if they like O-linemen more, or if they like more picks more. I tweeted that about 2-3 picks prior, and clearly that was their guy. I mean, there's a guy like Tyler Guyton on the board there, Tay. We mentioned his name a few times over the last, 14 days, and, it wasn't Tyler Guyton. It was Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. I mean, a guy coming off a serious injury in 2022, ACL, came back to have a great 2023, playing left tackle. He can play left tackle. He's a super athletic guy. So, Packers like athletes. We know that. That's what he is. Hey, they need offensive line depth. We know that. Does he project? Some are wondering as a guard as opposed to a tackle. But he believes he's a tackle. He's been a, team captain in Arizona, just a workout warrior. He worked as fast as possible to get back, get healthy, and get available here in 23, so he could help his team. He didn't like being on the sidelines, so you got a hardworking kid, and you hope that translates to, a guy who's going to be protecting Jordan for, the next 7 to 10 years. If that works out, nobody's going to complain about it. But yes, offensive line picks in the first round, the first since Derek Sherrod in 2013, are boring as hell.
Yeah, it's not very sexy, Ren, but I think we were all kind of setting ourselves up for a defensive player here, and I guess
Cooper
that's
was
where
there, Tay. Yep. Everybody's like, well,
Cooper,
if it's not Terrion,
it's got to be the other one, right?
The guy we mocked, the perfect fit for Halfley. Yep, versatility man. Versatility man was there and not taken.
So I guess that tells you what they were thinking. Either they didn't like the cornerbacks over this guy, or they were like, this is a position of need for us that we really need to address in the first round, enough to take them at 25. But I think collectively Packer Universe was kind of like hoping for a defensive playmaker, defensive person, kind of like eyeballing these cornerbacks. That's kind of, I think, where everyone was thinking they were going to go, but then they kind of like, here's the rug, let's pull it out a little bit and say like, no. But then if you pull back a little bit, you could see that the Packers were kind of slated to pick an offensive lineman for a long time. And even, this the rumor of Tom moving inside, it's like, then you need a tackle, right? So this doesn't come as a complete shock that the Packers will pick an offensive tackle right in this position at 25. So you have to just kind of decide to just relax a little bit and I guess trusting Goody that he's going to take care of the cornerback, safety position, linebacker position later, and kind of just go with this and congratulate Jordan on being the second Jordan taken in the first round in a few years. And yeah, like you said, protect Jordan, the QB, and just kind of get behind this. I don't, this isn't a instant bad pick by any means at all. This is a bolstering of the offensive line, which we needed anyway. So um, there's not a whole lot of complaints there, unless like you really think that defense was the thing and they made a huge mistake by doing that. But I don't think any of us really do.
No, I mean, again, at this point, it's not the guy that most when all of Packer Universe, all these podcasters, everybody's talking about the guys that mock to them, guys we're used to, and guys we want over 2 weeks. Yeah, of course, it comes as a shock. We're already in play, especially when the guys are there. A couple of them, and that could even be a different offensive lineman. Again, as I mentioned in Tyler Guyton, you get a guy who you don't expect, and you're like, what? And it's an offensive lineman, again, a boring pick. It's just not as exciting, way to kick off the draft for the Packers. But again, if he's there 6 to 10 years, nothing to complain about it. It's a great pick, and they certainly, as everybody talks about, games are won and lost in the trenches. You need as many of those good guys in front protecting your franchise as you can get, and that's what they did.
Yeah, my only, I guess, complaint about this pick is that I think they do really well in drafting offensive linemen in later rounds, identifying that talent. So they decided to go with a first round pick on this guy. So they have to see something. But that's my only kind of nitpick here is like, I think they have done a really good job historically in picking up offensive linemen later in the draft and evaluating that talent.
And
So,
that's why I would have went the defensive
yep.
avenue myself based on your, astute points there, and, draft and develop some of those later round guys that they've been able to do, especially given what they currently have. Not a lot of depth, but again, guys that they could draft and provide depth and develop over time.
So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there are still several cornerbacks out there that the Packers could
Oh,
select,
certainly.
and
Yeah.
and there's tons of defensive players left. We're at 41 tomorrow, which is what, pick 10 or pick like 9 or something, whatever that is, pick 10. And so that's pretty quick here. So we'll know pretty quickly how they're thinking, what's going to happen with the Packers, kind of like how they're going to attack this, if they're going to go defense right away in the second round or not. So we'll find out. But do you get anything more to say about the Packers? Because I got just a quick couple
Yeah,
things
we got
about
to
everything
touch
else that
base on
happened.
the rest of the North quick, because it was a pretty good night for the NFC North. Um, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow if some of these guys drop into the second round here. I didn't see the last couple picks as we've gotten on, so there's going to be some good talent at the top of the second round of the draft, and if there's wheeling and dealing, and maybe they're picking quicker than we would have thought, if somebody they really like fell into that they thought was a first round graded guy into the early second round. So you
Well,
never
I
know
could
what's
tell
going to happen.
you.
It's not gonna take a lot to get up there from where they're currently sitting.
I'm just looking quick at the results since our pick. Graham Barton center was picked right after us, and then Tyler Guyton was picked 29 to the Cowboys, and then that's all. It was all. Well, Nate Wiggins, a cornerback, was picked by the Ravens, number 30. So those guys are still out there. Kool-Aid and Cooper, those guys are still available.
Like there's one more pick to go tonight. That'd be Buffalo. If you haven't seen that yet, I don't know. Maybe they're still on the clock, and that would be the last pick of the draft is 31 tonight. So yeah, that puts Packers 10 deep going to start the draft. Kicks off at 6 p.m. Central tomorrow. But yeah, Tay, the NFC North. I mean, you got to talk about the Bears up front. Obviously, first pick of the draft, Caleb Williams, and man, have they gone from 2 years ago to not a receiver room to a loaded receiver room with
Yeah.
we know that they have DJ already that they brought in last year, then Keenan Allen this year, who's a little injury prone, and honestly, Rome Odunze is just a fantastic talent. You pair that with the tight ends on the roster and Swift and the insertion of a young guy in Caleb Williams, who we'll see if he works out or not. It's hard to say in Chicago. Quarterbacks don't work out in Chicago. They haven't in 70 years. I don't know. We'll see if it finally changes for them. Um, I'm not holding my breath, but certainly Caleb's going to have enough talent there to, give himself a fighting chance right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great for them on paper. You pick a quarterback with your first overall pick, which we all kind of knew was going to happen, and then you come back in at pick 9 and pick a talented wide receiver to go along with a couple ones that you already have on your roster. So it looks good on paper, Ren. It just really they have to prove it. They're going to have to do something with this. We kind of jump on the Bears a lot for their quarterback play over the years and how they can't get one. So we'll see if this works. It really there's nothing proven, there's nothing guaranteed with this. So I would say good luck, and we will see. There's nothing written in stone, and history tells us that they're going to still suck. So
Yeah, and time will tell, but they've taken a lot of first round quarterbacks in the last 8 years, and
yeah, right.
hasn't
Three.
worked out. So we'll see. And
Uh,
we again, the Bears' track record with quarterbacks is not good, other than trading for a guy who had a big arm and Jay Cutler, who still wasn't very good.
Uh, so that Kirk Cousins thing, you were obviously on Twitter following everything. The drama surrounding the not
That's been the most surprising pick of the draft thus far. It was
yeah.
when you just gave a 4-year deal with $100 million guaranteed to Kirk Cousins. Yeah, that's a weird one, Tay. I mean, yeah, maybe people say they're going the Packers route and gonna just sit him for 3 years. That seems like, based on we draft a guy there and move up to get him, I'm not sure that's the plan,
It's a little
and
weird, and
it's weird.
they're not gonna sit on Cousins and sit on this guy on the bench for 3 years. That's not gonna happen. I would say one for sure. Somehow they'll get out of the Cousins contract. Um,
I'm thinking he's playing 2 years, Tay, and then it's
Yeah, yeah,
kind
for
of
sure
signed.
it's done. It's
Yeah.
definitely. So, um, I just think it's so funny because we were in that position once, right? We've been in that position a ton of times where
Yep.
the front office isn't communicating with our franchise star quarterback about personnel moves, and then you get to see it again, and you're just like, haha, not us, not us. I love it. I love the drama, especially when it wraps around our cousin Kirk here. So, I love
But
that
he
stuff.
But speaking of cousin Kirk and his replacement, JJ McCarthy ends up in Minnesota. They don't
Yeah.
really have to move up and do a whole lot to get there and get their quarterback. A little bit more of a developmental guy. Obviously, won the national championship this year, but they lost an edge rusher this year. Brought in another guy who was an edge rusher, but then they get arguably the best edge rusher in the draft and Dallas Turner, and dang, good
Hmm.
good on paper again draft for the Vikings. So, and lastly, yeah, the Terry and Arnold for the Detroit
Lions.
Lions with the draft in Detroit tonight was just it was a steal, dude. You're talking a
Yeah.
top 10 talent they got, and essentially, yeah, they had to jump up in front of Green Bay and get them, but what a pick for them, and they're in good position to continue to really build their roster and stay at front in the NFC North at the moment.
Yeah. Well, concerning the Packers, it wasn't a huge flashy type of night for them for the first round, but you can't really argue with the pick, with the direction of that. Really, unless you're really set on what you wanted for the Packers to do and bolster that defense with a playmaker on that side of the ball. But they got an offensive line in Jordan Morgan. It seems like he's a very athletic type of guy that can do potentially a few more things on that line besides just a tackle. So we'll see if he's inside wherever he's at. But this seems to be the type that Packers like to get anyway. So overall, I can't complain about it. But I was kind of setting myself up for a defensive playmaker that didn't, get taken. So yeah, that'll be what it is. That's where we hang our hat tonight. Ren, have you got any more parting words for this evening?
No, again, I mean, Jordan seems like a good kid, and we wish him the best. And welcome to Green Bay, Jordan, and look forward to that leadership and that hard work that he had in college. Transferring to Green Bay.
Right on. All right, Ren. Well, let's get out of here. Yeah, the first night of the 2024 NFL Draft for the Packers is over with one pick. Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle out of Arizona. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.